What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I want to show you a winning black Digimon deck. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. There was an online tournament that went on from Impulse, I want to say, Impulse Gaming, and it was won by Elvis, who went and played a black deck. And black is one of the colours I really want to explore more in Digimon. I love me some green, but I want to start playing around more with black, and the great news is we've got ourselves a lovely winning deck that we can use as a pretty good basis in the BT5 format to look at quite how good black could be. And I, for one, am pretty gosh darned excited, especially as it would appear that black has gotten a bit of a bump in BT5, and that sounds quite nice to me. So shout out to Elvis for piloting this deck and showing us how gosh darned awesome it is. So, starting off with our level 2 Digimon here, we are mostly here playing a bit of the old Kapuramon. This is the one that came around in BT2. This says that while this Digimon has reboot, you get an extra 1000 power. So, clearly we're going to be looking to have some Digimon with reboot here, because extra power is good, and this gets you extra power. We do see a 4-1 split, as we tend to see here with some of these Digimon, and it's a little bit hard to see, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the other Kapuramon, one of the ones that came around in the starter deck, of all places. While this Digimon has blocker, you gain an extra 1000 power. And if there is one thing we know about black decks, they love blocking, ladies and gentlemen. They are big, big fans. Moving over into our level 3s, it probably won't surprise you to see that we got a full 4 copies of Toy Agamon. Toy Agamon, of course, does have that wonderful inheritable skill that gives you reboot, and I've already shown you a Digitama that gives you extra power if you've got reboot. It would be a little bit silly if we did not play the Toy Agamon that gives you reboot. It just feels like that would be wrong, okay, ladies and gentlemen? That just feels a little bit weird. Now, we also have here a full 4 copies of Agamon. We like Agamon, mostly because it's a level 3 blocker. And it really is as simple as that. Now, this also came out in the starter deck. You'll notice that's already 2 starter deck cards. You need the starter decks, I'll be honest with you. But, you know, you got 1000 power, right? It literally could not be any weaker. But the important thing about Agamon here is it's got blocker. And it's a level 3, and it's free to Digivolve, so this is going to give you some good early game blocking options. We very much like this. Now, we do have 4 copies of Commandramon, but that honestly doesn't really narrow it down, because we see loads of them. But we are talking here about the Commandramon from BT3, the one that costs 2 memory to play it normally. It's a 2-cost level 3. And that's it. That's why we play it, right? That's why we like it. That is the entire point of the card. It is a cheap-to-play level 3 that is going to get on the field and let you spam Digimon out nice and quickly. And then there is just a single copy of the Toy Agamon from the starter deck. Just the one. A nice little tech there. It's got an inheritable skill whereby at the end of your opponent's turn, if your opponent's Digimon did not attack at all during this turn, you get to draw 1. How often is that going to work? Maybe sometimes. But it's a draw engine. Gives you a little bit of extra draw throughout the game. You're playing it as a one-off card. It might work here and there. Now, moving over into level 4s here, we have Omnimon, and it's a 1-cost to Digivolve. And it really is as simple as that. It is a 1-cost to Digivolve level 4, so we play it so we can get rolling more quickly, get up to our level 5s and 6s. Far better is Dark Tyrannomon, also from the starter deck, which is another 1-cost to Digivolve, but with blocker. And I've said you need blocker in black. I said that black tend to do this. Now we've got a really cheap level 3, or standard cost level 3, but it's a level 3 that's got blocker. And we've got a 1-cost to Digivolve level 4 with blocker. And of course that gives us 7 Digimon in our deck that are level 4s and cost 1 to Digivolve. That is going to really, really help you get rolling throughout the course of the game. Now, we do have Greymon here from BT2. It's got a lovely inheritable skill. It's not a 1-cost to Digivolve, it's a 2-cost to Digivolve. But while you've got Reboot, you've also got jamming. So any Digimon that naturally has Reboot, any Digimon that has Digivolved from Toy Agamon, these will all have Reboot. And now, thanks to this, they will also have jamming as well. Jamming says they will not be deleted by security Digimon, even if they would lose the fight. And this, of course, is a really, really good thing, because it means you can attack the security, start whittling down their security, but you're not really in any danger of losing that Digimon, which is clearly a very good thing. Moving over into level 5, we've got a couple copies of War Greymon. This is the one from BT2 that naturally has Reboot. So again, it would be able to use those Reboot focus skills. But it's also got an inheritable skill whereby if you've got Reboot, you gain security attack +1. So again, it's got to be on a bigger Digimon with Reboot, or you've got to go Toy Agamon into Metal Greymon, and then into a level 6 or 7 above that. But you can see we are building around Reboot, and because we're building around Reboot, all of a sudden we look back at Kapuramon, that's level 2, and you go, oh yeah, well that makes a lot of sense. We're tripping Reboot here, so it makes sense that that would be our Digitama of choice. We've also got ourselves a couple copies here of Megadramon. Now this is another one that came around in the starter deck. Seriously, this keeps happening, right? And people keep telling me, and I've heard so many people say, oh, second wave of starter decks, they aren't that good. Well, I've already shown you green decks that are loving the starter decks. Now I'm showing you this winning black deck, which is playing a bunch of starter deck cards. If you're serious about playing competitive Digimon, just get all the starter decks. They're all exclusive cards. Even if they're not good now, you never know if they are going to be in the future. So my advice is extremely simple. Make sure you get the starter deck. But yeah, it's got blocker. Pretty much all you need to know, right? It's got blocker. As an inheritable skill. I love this. Because some of the bigger level 6s will have blocker, but this has it as an inheritable skill, which means even when you get up into your big bad level 6s and 7s, you're still going to be rocking blocker. That is a very cool thing. And then we've got a couple copies here of another one we don't see all that much because it's brand new. It's Black Macgalgamon. You know, the one that's really easy to say. Now, this naturally has reboots, so all of those reboot skills we've seen before will absolutely be coming in very nicely here. But it's also got an inheritable skill whereby if you've got reboot, you gain an extra 2,000 power. Bearing in mind, Kapuramon will give you an extra 1,000 power. So if you've combined those two inheritable skills as you should be aiming to do, yeah, that's an extra 3,000 power. That is honestly pretty gosh darn nice. And then I am absolutely delighted because we've also got 3 copies of my boy Warumonzemon. And this, I mean, if I wasn't looking into playing a bunch of black decks in the near future, I am. But if I wasn't, having seen this taking over this deck would make me very happy. And to be honest, it doesn't really take over the deck. It's a conduit. It's cheap, yeah? You're not particularly powerful, but 5 cost to play normally, 2 cost to Digivolve. So level 5, that's crazy cheap. So that's why we're playing it in this particular deck. And the fun thing is that as we start looking at level 6s, we are really mixing it up a bit in terms of level 6s. We've actually got 4 different here, which we don't see all that often, and do remember playing many different level 6s could mean you don't always draw into the one you want. You have been warned. Now, there are 2 copies of Hyandramon here. This is your generic vanilla level 6. It is cheap to play, it is cheap to Digivolve, and it is 12,000 power, which is above your average for a level 6. There's no skill here like there are on so many level 6s in the past, and in the future, presumably, but you are cheap and powerful, and I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, being both cheap and powerful it's a pretty good combination. Now, we do actually have, as a one-off here, a red level 6, which is Blitz Greymon. But remember that Blitz Greymon, although it is a red Digimon, can Digivolve from either red or black. So although it is a red Digimon, it does actually fit into this deck quite naturally, because it can Digivolve from black, despite the fact that it's red. And yes, I know that's slightly confusing, but it's got piercing. So if you take out a resting Digimon, you will also get to attack the security, which is cool. And when you Digivolve, you can trigger D-Digivolve 2 on one of your opponent's Digimon. That is trashing the top 2 evolution cards from that stack of Digimon. It's a one-off here, it's not your main thing, but it's pretty gosh darned cool. But the main level 6 that we are rocking here, the one that does come in as a 4-of, is your Metal Garurumon that did come around in BT5. So, like I've said, this is, although the starter deck really is contributing to this deck and making it better, it is a BT5 deck. Now, Metal Garurumon here has got Reboot, and you saw that coming, right? You've seen so many Reboot skills on all of these Digimon that there had to be a main level 6 with Reboot here. Becomes unsuspended on your opponent's turn, but also hopefully has extra power, security, attack, jamming, all of that good stuff. And when you Digivolve, Digiburst 2, that is trash 2 evolution sources, but you'll notice that we're playing a bunch of stuff like Numemon, like Weru Monzemon, which are vanilla Digimon that you're just playing to go up cheaply, so you can afford to trash those Digivolution cards without losing any cool skills. And then you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 6 or less. But if you don't delete a Digimon doing this, you trash the top card of your opponent's security. This is a very, very powerful effect, and if you can play this right and take out all of your opponent's Digimon with low power, or low play cost I suppose, probably both, then you can just start trashing their security when you Digivolve into this, which is ridiculous. Now, I said there are 4 level 6s. I'm sorry, I lied. There are actually 3 different level 6s. I've shown you all of them. And there are 2 different level 7s coming in here. Now, the main one here is your free of. We have got a free of Omnimon Zwart Defeat. It's new. It's good. Now, this actually is a security Digimon, which is a bit nuts, right? If it comes out as a security card, you get to just play it, even though it's a gigantic 13,000 power level 7 Digimon, which is clearly, like, nuts, but that's it's just how it works. It's literally how the card works, and shall we say it gives you a rather pronounced advantage, I think is a polite way to put it. But that's not the only skill it has. When you Digivolve, you delete a Tamer. Obviously, if you play it as a security, you'll lose that skill. But when deleted, you get to delete any of your opponent's Digimon. No matter how big, how bad, how much they've Digivolved up, how useful they are, etc. Unless they've got something that stops them being deleted by effects, and there are a few of them out there, they will go down. And then we got a little 2 of Omnimon Zwart. Not defeat, just Omnimon Zwart. When you Digivolve, trash the top 3 cards of your deck, and you may play 2 black cards with a play cost of 8 or less from your trash without paying the memory cost, which is frankly a little bit silly. You don't really have any great play skills to take advantage of here, unfortunately, but it means you can get like your level 5s out really nicely, which is kind of awesome. And then when you attack, you may return a level 6 Digimon from under it to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 12 or less. Bearing in mind, you may be able to attack with Omnimon Zwart, take out the only Digimon with a play cost of 6 or less, and then Digivolve into Metal Garurumon to trash a security. That is going to be a very fun thing. If you can get rid of their Digimon with a play cost of 6 or less before Digivolving up into Metal Garurumon, that is just going to mean you trash the security, and that is, well, it's honestly going to be a little bit broken. Now, we do actually have a single option card here, and I do mean a single option card. It is one option card played as a one-of, but it is the rather over-the-top good, zero-cost Mega Digimon Fusion. The next time one of your Digimon Digivolves from a level 6 to a level 7, reduce the cost by 6. At the end of the turn, return that Digimon to its owner's deck. So, this is why you're playing it as a one-of. It's a one-shot deal, right? It's a free card, zero cost. You lose that card from your hand, you lose nothing else. And you essentially get a super cheap evolution and then one turn to take advantage of it before that card goes away. And obviously the card going away is not ideal, but you Digivolve up and then you get one turn of going a bit nuts, bearing in mind you might have extra security attack, reboot, etc, etc. You may have one heck of a turn, and this is basically an I'm going to win the game card. You draw it and you stash it. If it comes out as a security, it goes into your hand as well, and you wait, and you wait, and then on the perfect turn, you go boom, and it wins you the game. In terms of Tamers, we've got 2 copies of Taikamiya and Mat Ishida. This is the one whereby if your opponent has a level 6 or higher Digimon at the start of your turn, you gain 2 memory, which is a good thing. Gaining memory is good. And then you've also got a rather lovely second skill here, where your Digimon with Omnimon gain security attack +1. And both your level 7s, of course, have Omnimon in the name. And this is phenomenal, because remember, you're going to have things like jamming, and you're going to have extra security attack. We've got all kinds of skills we are trying to build into our level 7s here with reboot and all of that. And now you're telling me I get an extra security attack? So when we play that option card, yeah, fine, we might have one turn before we lose the Digimon, but we might have, like, security attack +3 and jamming. That's going to be worth it, ladies and gentlemen. That is definitely going to be worth it. And then we got 2 copies of Izzy Azumi, the one from BT4. It's one of the ones that puts you at free memory at the start of your turn if you're not there already. And when you play it, you reveal 3 cards on the top of your deck. If they're all black, you gain 1 memory. So it's really a free cost tamer that then will make sure you always have free memory to start your turn. You do have that single solitary copy of Blitz Greymon, and you do have 3 white cards, 1 option, 2 tamers, so there is a tiny chance you will not hit all black cards, but most of the time it is a free cost card that will make sure you got free memory to start your turn, and that sounds pretty good to me. This is my favourite non-green deck I think I've probably ever seen. I love this. I love all of the different combos you've got going on here. I love that it's playing Waramonzemon. I love so much about this deck. And I love that it is proving that starter decks really are good and need to be played. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you guys. I want to know how good you think it is. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.